My neighbors hated my piano practice, so I bought a condo in a ghost complex. I'm the only living person in the whole building, play whatever I want, as loud as I want. One day, during an especially intense session, a voice boomed out, "For crying out loud, the fourth measure is wrong, wrong, wrong." I was creeped out, but intrigued. "Hey, maestro, care to give a pointer?" I practiced piano like it was my job, 12 hours a day. Everywhere I lived, people complained. The realtor told me about this place out in the suburbs. Dirt cheap rent, good management, and best of all, nobody living there to complain. At first, I thought nobody living there was a joke. But when I moved in, it was disturbingly quiet. Empty parking garage, not a soul on the sidewalk. The security guard gave me the kind of look you'd give an alien. It wasn't until delivery drivers refused to come here that I knew something was off. I asked the guard, "I thought all the units were sold? Nobody moved in?" He blew out a smoke ring, all chill. "Oh, they moved in. Every single one." "You're kidding, right? I haven't seen a single person." The guard chuckled. "Well, ghosts don't cast shadows." I jumped. "What do you mean?" He said, "Not trying to scare you, but the owners bought these places for urns, not people. You and me are the only two live ones." A columbarium condo? After a second of being freaked out, I was thrilled. No more noise complaints. I could play as loud as I wanted. The thought of all those urns having their quiet slumber to my music made me grin. The guard must have thought I was nuts, 'cause he rolled his eyes. "Suit yourself. But if you need anything, call the office." What could I need besides some serious practice time? I wanted to play in the orchestra at the Kennedy Center, had wanted that since I was a little kid. I worked my tail off for it, but my teacher always said, "Ava, you're good, but you're missing that spark." That spark was impossible to define. My teacher kept saying, "Listen to how Liam O'Connell played. It's got fire, passion, like he's putting his whole life into the music." Of course, I'd heard his stuff countless times. But he was Liam O'Connell, a once-in-a-generation prodigy, former lead at the center, sold out global tours. He was a legend. Tragically, he crashed and burned young. He battled depression, and not long after leaving the stage, he jumped off a hotel rooftop. 26 years old. The Kennedy Center had a hole in their heart now, so they were looking for new talent. The audition piece? O'Connell's signature song, Overture of Dreams. Knowing I wouldn't get complaints, I cranked the stereo to max, listening to O'Connell and then pounding out the music again and again. Time flew. It was dark, it was late. I was the only light in the whole complex. Only my window carried the sound of life. I was lost in the music, then bam, the voice bellowed, "That is so annoying. The fourth measure is wrong, wrong, wrong." I jumped and spun around. No one. My door was locked tight. But my balcony window was open. Did this ghost complex have visitors? I stepped onto the balcony, but it was still pitch black. Just the lonely glow of the streetlights. "Who's there?" I yelled. A bird took flight with a rustle of wings, then silence again. Maybe I was practicing so hard I was hallucinating. I closed the balcony and went back to the piano. I double-checked the fourth measure. I didn't play it wrong. Must be my imagination. I shook it off and started playing again. A few measures in, the angry roar came back. "Even if you played it 100 times, it'd still be wrong. Just stop." This time, I heard it loud and clear, a man's voice, and close. Like he was in the room with me. My doors and windows were locked and sealed. I shivered. "Who are you?" I asked, my voice shaking. The voice was impatient. "Who cares? I gotta listen to you butchering that song every day. It's driving me nuts." I didn't take that, no way. I may be a nobody, but I graduated from music school and got awards. No one could say I was bad. "Don't be a know-it-all," I shot back into the empty air. "The fourth measure is right. You got it?" Silence. Huh. He was just talking trash. I scoffed and turned around to play. Just as my foot hit the pedal, the voice came back. If you're not messing up, then the sheet music is. That got me thinking. I knew the score like my own hands. I never made mistakes. But I never had that O'Connell feeling either. Including measure 4. This is from the Kennedy Center. Then, the piano jumped and played a couple of notes on its own. I wasn't playing. My hands weren't on the keys. Then, it was like the keys had a mind of their own. A pair of invisible hands played softly, then grew in confidence. The notes swelled through the night. It was Overture of Dreams. The best performance I had ever heard. It was breathtaking, impossible. The music ended, leaving a long silence. Finally, a sigh. Distant, full of regret. I recovered. Did you play that? I asked. My voice was soft, almost shy. I didn't want to break the spell. The gentle sigh turned back to rage. What do you think, a ghost? He finally gave in. Fine. I guess I am a ghost. A ghost who plays piano? I reached out, but obviously I couldn't touch him. Am I scaring you? No, not really. Huh, you're lying to a ghost. He didn't act like a ghost. Most people would be terrified. But I was still reeling from his playing, moved, shaken, like my soul had been touched. I couldn't care less about a ghost at that moment. That was amazing, I said, awestruck. Can you give me a few pointers? I meant it. He had created a whole world with that performance. Even as a ghost, he held incredible energy. Why do you play that song over and over? He asked. I'm auditioning for the Kennedy Center. It's the audition piece. Huh, he scoffed, unimpressed. I'll play it again. If you still can't hear your own mistakes, quit now and go back to whatever you were doing. Then he played, and I could just shut up and listen. He was right. The score was wrong. The way he played was subtle, but totally different. He had a level of mastery I'd only heard in Liam O'Connell's performances. The song finished, and I applauded. He cut me off. Our hands are for playing, not clapping for others. He was a moody ghost. Now you play, he said, like he was ordering me around. I took a deep breath, thinking about how he had played it. He was a force. I had never played like this. The notes seemed to glow. My heart was pounding. The music built and swept me up in a dream. It ended, and there was silence again. No applause. He probably couldn't hear if he did clap. Or more likely, he wouldn't, since his hands were for playing, not applauding for others. I took a leap. Are you Liam O'Connell? Silence. Hey, maestro? You there? He seemed to be gone. I rubbed my fingertips, feeling like I'd just woken up from a dream. The next day, my teacher said I'd had a breakthrough. If I kept going like that, I could get into the Kennedy Center. I'd spent the night convinced the moody ghost was Liam O'Connell. Online videos of O'Connell's performances matched what I had heard from the ghost. The public persona was really private. He rarely spoke more than a few words in public, so it was hard to place his voice. But music doesn't lie. And O'Connell was dead. So, it was possible he was haunting my ghost complex. On my way home, the guard was asleep. I woke him up and asked, "What's the name of the person in Unit 502? He yawned and checked his list. O'Connell. I jumped up and down. Oh my God, really, O'Connell? The guard stared at me. You okay? You act like you saw a ghost. Maybe I did. Me, regular old Ava Miller, had just gotten lessons from Liam O'Connell himself. From the other side. What crazy luck. 1 elevator, 2 apartments, me in 501, O'Connell in 502. It was insane. When I got home, I walked to 502 and knocked gently. Liam, thank you. No answer. I remembered. Ghosts probably didn't show up in daylight. I wrote thank you on a sticky note. Then, I wrote, "Can we meet again tonight?" I slipped it under his door. That night, I was on fire. The thought of Liam listening made me focus, made me stronger. I played a piece, then called out, "Hey, are you there? Am I getting any better? Liam, I know it's you. Come on, show up. Moody ghost, are you home?" I listened, but all I heard was silence. I wasn't going to get anywhere like this. He was a genius. Maybe he had his rules. I was disappointed, but went to sleep, not dreaming of him. The next morning, bird calls woke me. The sun streamed into my place. It was actually kinda cozy, considering. Still in my pajamas, I went to the piano, and there was my sticky note. "Thank you. Can we meet again tonight?" I laughed at myself. I thought, he came, but he just handed it back. Was he saying no? I threw the note in the trash. Fine, whatever. Stay lonely. Then I saw writing on the back. I grabbed it out of the garbage. The note read, "You're better." It was him. He'd heard me play. Why wouldn't he show up? Did he not want to talk to me? Fine. No more moody ghost, I called out. "I'll call you Mr. O'Connell." Whether he was there or not, I'd pretend he heard me. Mr. O'Connell didn't come for 3 days, but that didn't mean he stopped teaching. Every day, I'd leave a note under his door, and every morning, it'd be on my piano with comments on the back. Short and sweet, but to the point. Liam was bored, wasn't he? Did he just want a student on the other side for a bit? So, I worked hard. I didn't want to let him down. One night, I played the best overture of Dreams I ever had. Looking at my curtains, I felt he was there with me. "Mr. O'Connell, my teacher said I'm almost as good as you." "Mr. O'Connell, I know you're here. Stop hiding." "Should I buy you some ghost money?" "No, that's dumb." "Should I send you some ghost sheet music?" "Stop." The voice boomed. He showed up. He never came, then he came when I was going to make him ghost sheet music. And he was still so moody. "Mr. O'Connell." "I'm not your Mr. O'Connell." His voice was spectral, heavy with misery. My mind blanked. I wasn't sure if he didn't want to teach me. I didn't want to call you by your first name. It feels rude. Is Moody Ghost more respectful? He heard that? I stammered, "You weren't coming." I was desperate, trying to call you out. "Does that mean I'll come running?" Those rhetorical questions were so annoying. But this was Liam O'Connell, a god. I backpedaled. "I wanted to thank you. You weren't here. I had to send some ghost stuff." "You're losing your focus. You won't be any good if you're not focused," he said dismissively. "Then, don't worry about who I am. Thanking me won't help. Practice, realize your dreams, so the world hears your music, touches your soul. Then, you'll be a musician." There was kindness under that temper, I realized. He cared. He was a god, and my teacher. I couldn't help smiling. "Okay, thank you, most amazing you." I found the right way to say it. He didn't snap back. He snorted. "Almost like Liam O'Connell? What kind of teacher do you have? Their standards are way too low." "But I want to play at the Kennedy Center. Everyone is waiting for the next Liam O'Connell." "Ha," he scoffed. "Why be another Liam O'Connell? Be yourself. Make your own music." He said, "Try a harder left hand here." The sheet music flipped, stopping at a page. The piano played, showing me what he meant. I pulled out my phone and hit record. That night, he pushed me, showed me new ways to play. I wanted to soak up everything, every ounce of his talent. "I gotta go," he said. That was the first time he actually said goodbye. "Bye, best teacher." I waved at the air, knowing he was there. I thought he was gone, but then I heard his voice, faint and far. "Still call me Moody Ghost. I give you permission." He went to 502. I stood by the door, not wanting him to leave. I stayed like that until the lights in the hall went out, all the way to the silence. Moody Ghost was the cutest ghost. Before going to sleep, I put in my earbuds. I played the recording. It was a one-of-a-kind recording, from a person gone too soon, but so talented, so special. Just for me. But his playing wasn't quite what I remembered O'Connell playing. O'Connell's Overture of Dreams was beautiful and passionate. But this was beautiful and angry. There was a sense of struggle, a need to break out and grasp for something. Maybe being a ghost had changed him. When I started calling him Moody Ghost, we became closer. He had me buy a wind chime so I wouldn't change in the bedroom anymore. He saw everything from there. The living world was wide open for him, but I was curious about his world. I asked if the urns turned into ghosts. If they all came and went like him. If they were annoyed at my piano playing. He said urns were urns and ghosts were ghosts. Only he could come into my apartment. He didn't want to say why. He wanted me to stop asking about ghosts and focus on my practicing. He didn't talk about himself, but he cared about my Kennedy Center dream. At first, he gave me pointers, then he started to guide me, plan my schedule. He even changed my audition songs. Why would your teacher choose that piece? It doesn't show what you're good at. Then he helped me pick a hard one, and showed me how to do it. His playing was top tier. I said, I'm so sorry your talent is wasted on this old piano. I can't imagine how you'd sound on a Steinway. He snorted. You think the piano is more important than the person? Well, they're both, good, I said. He was quiet. Then, my first piano was from a dumpster. A dumpster? I asked, staring at where I thought he was. The Liam O'Connell I knew had a musical family, a star. How did he get a piano from a dumpster? He'd already gone into moody mode. It's not important. All that matters is the music. Now, practice. I got better so fast. My teacher was shocked, said I'd had an epiphany. When I changed my piece, my teacher looked at me funny, and said it was risky, so close to auditions. But after he heard it, he said, do whatever you want. Finally, auditions were tomorrow. Moody Ghost was with me for one last practice. When he left, a sprig of lilac was on my piano. Did you get that for me? I just grabbed it from outside, they're everywhere. There's a ton, but you picked one. You think I'll win, right? He didn't say anything, just said, think about the audition. Is your ID and admission ticket packed? Go to bed already. He cared about me, even behind the temper. Last time someone had said that was my dad. I almost cried, remembering he's working hard back home so I can do this. He doesn't know about the Kennedy Center yet. I wanted to wait to tell him until I made it. I felt a tear. Before I could wipe it, I felt a cold touch, like an icy hand wiping my cheek. It was the first time I'd felt him. I put my hand on my cheek, but all I touched was my skin. That coldness was gone. Moody Ghost, can I see you? I asked quietly. The wind chimed, he was leaving again. Moody Ghost. I called at the door, and then saw a young woman staring at me, surprised. She was dressed fancy with long, curled hair and heels. I ducked back in, then peeked through the peephole. She went to 502, pulled out a key, and went inside. Was she family? The wind chime still softly rang, 502 shut. The hall lights went off. The audition was at the Kennedy Center. 20-odd other finalists waited backstage, nervous as hell. They were in their gowns and suits. I had on a white shirt, blue skirt. Plain, like a college kid. I couldn't afford a fancy dress. But I touched the sprig of lilac and thought, I don't have a dress, but you guys don't have O'Connell's blessing either. And that made me stand tall. My turn. The door opened to the stage. The light was bright, burning, powerful. In the middle was the Steinway grand piano, where Liam used to play. The staff checked my ID and admission ticket. I reached into my bag to find them. And they were gone. I remembered putting them in that pocket. Moody Ghost told me to take my stuff. I checked it again this morning. I panicked. I pulled everything out, scattered the contents on the floor. My lilac landed on the ground. But no ticket. I lost them. No ID, no audition, the staffer said flatly. I got through 2 rounds. The judges know me. He shook his head. I'm sorry. It's the rules. I begged, can I just play? I promise I'll get another one. Sorry. He called, next. A gorgeous girl in a gold dress walked over. She gave the staff her papers and walked into the light to sit at the piano. The door shut, cutting me off from that light. I couldn't believe it. I'm better than her. I could play a better overture of Dreams. This better feeling made my grief unbearable, and I started to cry. The staff gave me a tissue. I didn't say thank you, just ran. I ended up in a dark corner and sobbed, leaning on an old piano. My childhood dream. All these years of work. What my parents had sacrificed. My teacher's faith. And Moody Ghost's guidance. All gone. All over a mistake. The music ended. The last finalist had been on stage. The judges were leaving. My important day was over. Suddenly, I thought of the old piano. I could hear the music from here. That meant they could hear me too. I still had a chance. I yanked open the top of the piano. Dust flew into my face, and I sneezed. More tears fell. I set my phone on the piano, turned on the flashlight, and saw it was a Steinway, too. I played a note. It was working. The notes were out of tune, but the sound was good. I took a breath. Even if I didn't get into the Kennedy Center, I was going to play. In the darkness, I didn't need sheet music. All I had was the music itself. I played the most powerful overture of Dreams I'd ever played. I played it like I didn't care. I wanted my music, my voice, my cry to break out and be heard. I didn't see the door open. I didn't see the people waiting. When it ended, I was crying, my head slumped on the piano. The lights came on. A light, like the morning sun, covered the piano and me. A big round of applause stopped my tears. The judges were there. Moody Ghost said, hands are for playing, not clapping. But here were musicians clapping for me. A white-haired man, the Kennedy Center's founder, and Liam's grandfather, Samuel O'Connell, said, play your audition piece. So I could still audition? I asked on the stage? No, here. On this piano. I nodded and started playing the song Moody Ghost picked. I didn't play just for myself. He wasn't there, but he was. Every feeling I had was so strong and clear. My fight with the piano, our love story. Moody Ghost had taught me this. When it finished, no applause. I looked up at the door. Samuel's eyes burned, like he could stop time. He wasn't clapping, so no one dared. Did I still have a chance? You're in, Samuel said. Applause again. Oh, wow! I yelled. Really? Even without my ticket? I felt stupid, and the judges laughed. Samuel said, you're in. Just get your ticket. Okay. I did a happy spin. Then, I gently closed the top of the piano. I can start anytime. One of the judges laughed. It was the girl from 502. She had long, curled hair and heels. I smiled. She raised an eyebrow. She'd recognized me. She didn't like me. I filled out the forms, and they wanted me to start rehearsal tomorrow. I couldn't wait to tell Moody Ghost. Outside, a lilac tree was blooming. I picked up the lilac that Moody Ghost gave me. It had dropped some petals, but still smelled so good. Ava. It was Samuel. He was waiting for me. "Mr. O'Connell," I said, "thank you so much for letting me audition. I almost missed it." Samuel nodded. "You made your own opportunity. I'm glad there was a piano backstage. It was old but it worked." Samuel changed the subject. "Your first audition and the second one weren't special. A month later, you're a different person." He was on to me. I blushed. I practiced hard, maybe?" He didn't buy it. "Who's your teacher?" "Ray Jones." "I know Ray. It's not his style." I was curious. "Then, what do you think? Whose style is it?" Samuel looked at me for a long time. "Someone I knew." I knew why I got in. It was because of Moody Ghost. Moody Ghost was Liam. And I, Liam's best student, reminded Samuel of his grandson. I wasn't about to tell him. I didn't want to scare him. But Samuel wasn't scared. The guard was. When I came into the complex, he stared at me, his jaw hanging open. You weren't home?" "I left early today." "Then." The guard pointed to my place. Who's playing piano?" My place was filled with music, Overture of Dreams. Who else could it be but Moody Ghost? I had to stop scaring the guard. I needed him here. I said, "It's a recording. The computer must have put it on." He didn't know the difference. He believed me and breathed again. "You scared me. Thought it was a ghost." "Ha ha, it was a ghost." I ran home, Moody Ghost. I got in. The music stopped. And there, on the table, was my ticket and ID. "How did they get here?" "I put them in my bag," I said, not paying attention. "I got into the Kennedy Center." "Really? Congrats," Moody Ghost said, his voice not so excited. "Aren't you happy? I got in because of you." "Of course I'm happy." He didn't sound it. But he was Moody Ghost. "Thanks. I don't know how to pay you back." He cut me off. "If I wasn't a ghost, but a real person, what would you do for me?" That was weird, but I laughed. "Anything you want." "Anything?" "Anything." I put up my pinky. "Pinky swear." "That's a kid thing." He scoffed. I smiled, put my hand away, and pulled out the lilac. "Your good luck charm. I'm gonna treasure it." I put the lilac in a water bottle and put it on the piano. The place filled with the smell of lilac. "How did you get in without your ticket?" he asked. It was crazy. They didn't want me in, but the old piano backstage was working, so I went for it. I wanted them to hear my music. Moody Ghost breathed hard. Was the piano okay?" His voice was shaking. That was the first time he was like that. "It was out of tune, but okay. You said it yourself, the best players aren't held back by instruments." He whispered. "Did I really say that?" "Yeah, you're Liam O'Connell. What you say?" "Stop!" he yelled. I jumped. I didn't know what I did wrong again. I wanted to ask him, but I heard the wind chime, and he was gone. I ran after him. "Moody Ghost, why are you running? What did I do to make you mad?" He didn't answer. That's what he always did, just run back to his ghost house. Or back to his urn. I sighed. He was a ghost. I'd let it go. I put a sticky note under his door, "You can't hide. I'll come bug you every day." That night, I couldn't understand why Moody Ghost was acting so strange. He cared so much about my audition, but when I made it, he wasn't happy? And why did he play my piano in broad daylight? I remembered my camera. I'd installed it here because it was a ghost house. I rewound the tape to when I was leaving. I saw my ID and ticket slip out of my bag. It was Moody Ghost. Why did he take my things? He didn't want me to succeed? Even if he didn't want me to win, he wouldn't have done it that way. I couldn't wait to ask him why, so I went to his place. I banged on his door. "Moody Ghost, get out here. I know you're there. Don't hide. I understood how the angry characters in those old soaps felt. When someone wouldn't talk, you wanted to destroy everything. I grabbed a brick to smash the door, but then a cold wind blew. Ghosts need sleep too. What do you want? Moody Ghost said, annoyed. Did you steal my ID? Silence. Talk. You helped me so much, so I'd get in. Why did you take my things? More silence. Moody Ghost. Where's the temper? Get mad at me. He was getting to me. Don't go, he said quietly. Try another place. That was so weird. The Kennedy Center is the best place, and I got in. Why would I go somewhere else? Just listen to me. No. The Kennedy Center was my dream. Liam was my hero. It was where my dreams would come true, where I'd play Liam's piano. And he was telling me not to go. He was crazy. I went back home and slammed the door. I thought he'd come through the door. Doors didn't stop ghosts. But he didn't. He just said, "Doesn't what I say matter?" He was so annoying. He'd been a jerk for a long time. And now it mattered to him? No, it doesn't. I yelled. And stop with the rhetorical questions. I hate them. Silence. I had no idea why Moody Ghost was like this. Was he jealous I'd replaced him? The Kennedy Center was my dream. I had to go there. I would play my own version of Overture of Dreams. I'd show everyone who Ava Miller was. I'd be the next Liam O'Connell. After I fought with Moody Ghost, he stopped coming. I started rehearsing. The Kennedy Center wanted me in a dorm, but I said no. I said I liked living alone, but I wanted Moody Ghost to come back. If I left, that was it. I didn't want to leave. I wanted to bang on 502. A few times, I had my hand up, but when I remembered he'd messed with me, I walked away. The lilac had died, but I didn't throw it out. Moody Ghost was gone, but I was still practicing. I played on the Steinway, but my coworkers were cold. The lead pianist, Sarah O'Connell, was Liam's cousin. She said, "Why are you playing on this piano? I can't believe my grandfather hired you. Did you come cheap?" The others laughed. Sarah was the Kennedy Center's poster child. After Liam died, they called her the new star, but she wasn't as good. I knew she was worried about me. I got here by my talent. I can play on this piano just like you. She smiled and walked away. Something to hide, she said. Then, the fall concert came around. It was a big deal. I asked Samuel to let me play. He said, "You've been practicing long enough." Then, he said, "You're still too young, not a big name. You can be Sarah's understudy." I understood. I wasn't going to be a shooting star or a member of a big musical family. Being an understudy was enough. I was happy with that. Until the concert poster came out. There was no mention of me. "Mr. O'Connell, am I not an understudy?" I asked Samuel. He took me to a dark corner backstage, turned on a light, and it was on me and an old piano. He smiled. "You belong here." I wasn't an understudy. I was a ghost. Sarah would play on stage, but I'd be playing back here. That's why she said something to hide. I couldn't do it. It was an insult. Samuel said Overture of Dreams was special, that Sarah wasn't good enough, but the center needed a star. And I could play it, but I didn't have the star power. I said no, and he ripped his mask off, and said they'd never let me play anywhere else. I would never play music again. He was smiling, but I saw rage. I don't know how I went home. I was lost. I was alone, so I just cried on the steps. My dream was a joke. I'd lost my name, my face, even the sun. I was a mouse in the darkness. Tears blurred 502. Wait. Did Moody Ghost know about this? He'd helped me so much, but then he wanted to stop me after Sarah came to his place. He knew the truth. He didn't want me to be a mouse, and I hated him. Moody Ghost, did you know about this? I'm sorry, Moody Ghost. Come back. I beat on his door, but he didn't answer. I wanted to see him now. I'd thank him and say I was sorry. I didn't have a key, so I kicked at the door. A key fell out from under the door. Moody Ghost was there. The key turned and the door opened. The windows were boarded, the house was dark, but the door led into a bright light. A shrine, right in the center. It was for someone named Ian White. And it was his photo. Young, tough, serious. Moody Ghost? I said, confused. A quiet sigh. That sound made me feel safe. Moody Ghost, is that you? His voice was soft. I'm not Liam. Are you disappointed? I wasn't disappointed. I was relieved. I'd never liked the O'Connells, so I didn't want Moody Ghost with them. I said, no. Really? He didn't believe me. Sorry, you don't like questions. But I need to know, are you disappointed? Who cared about a question? I breathed deep. I was surprised, but I'm happy. I don't like those people. Okay, Moody Ghost said, calm. Your name is Ian White? Yeah. You're so talented, how come I never heard of you? I'm like you. I'm in the dark, making other people look good, with no name. I was in shock. You're his. I was Liam's ghost. Everything about Liam now made sense. He became a star, but at 22, he never went on tour. He only played at the Kennedy Center. Everyone thought he was too big for the world. But he had gotten sick, then Ian White was his ghost. He played every song, he touched all the fans, he made all those dreams. And Liam's music after that was all him, too. I was so stupid. I'd noticed how different Liam's music sounded later on, but I just thought it was growth. How could I have been so blind? But everyone else was too, right? Did that old jerk Samuel do this to you? I asked, angry, even angrier than when I was a ghost. Ian said slowly, Liam and me, that's a long story. I shut the door. The room went dark, like it was the color of his past. Ian was a foster kid that the O'Connells took in. He was poor. He found a toy piano in the trash and played Jingle Bells. Because he was so talented, his parents let him learn music. He beat Liam in a competition when they were 12. That was the only time Liam didn't win. Then, a car crash killed Ian's dad and left his mom in a coma. Ian was alone, about to lose his dream. Then, Samuel helped him. He sent Ian's mom to the best hospital and took Ian into his home. Ian was 3 years younger than Liam. They were rivals and they were friends. But then, Ian learned a secret. Liam's hand shook when he drank. He never knew it, but Ian saw it. Then, he heard Samuel talking to doctors. He learned Liam had a gene issue. Liam's hands would shake more and more, until his muscles gave out. He couldn't play after 20. At 22, Liam couldn't practice long. He even messed up in a show. Ian thought they'd say Liam was sick. But Samuel said the theater had a piano for him. Ian was now Liam's ghost. If Ian didn't do it, his mom's hospital would get cut off. Ian understood. That's why Samuel had trained him so much, but never let him perform. Samuel had been waiting for this. When he came to Ian's family, he was already planning all of it. Ian agreed, so his mom could live. Liam didn't want to do it. Ian made him feel better, said it was his choice, so no one would know about the O'Connell sickness. Let me give back to the O'Connells, Ian had said. He hated himself. He, Ian White, would never see the light. He started playing backstage. It was killing him. He felt like a mouse, getting punished for wanting the sun. He got skinny and couldn't sleep. He didn't want to go out in daylight. His windows were black. Even the morning sun would make him shake. He could only dream in his music, the sun, the stars, the sea, the woods, his mom and dad, that someone cared for him. He played that piano for 4 years. Then he went to see his mom. He found out she died a month ago. They never told him. So he could keep being a ghost. Ian was done. He fought with Samuel and ran out. He was lost, never saw the sun, and he didn't know the road. He was like a bird that had fallen and was lost in the street. A car slammed on its brakes, and Ian White was over. Ian cried. The moody man, the shy man, was crying like a kid. Ian, I held out my arms. Then, I actually felt someone touch me. It was cold, but a tear fell on my shoulder. Ghosts were cold. But his tears were hot. I promised I'd do anything for Moody Ghost. Even if it killed my music career. I wiped my eyes and went back to the center and told Samuel I'd be his ghost if they paid me. I wanted a ton of money. Samuel was shocked, said I was crazy. I said, buy me out or I'll tell the world the truth. I must have looked crazy, because he said yes. They had a ton of dirty money. I played for the fall concert for 3 days. I played Liam's old piano and made Sarah look good. When the concert ended, Samuel brought all the big people in music. He had me trapped. The reviewers said Sarah was so good, that the overture of Dreams was amazing, that she had Liam's style. Sarah went on TV, magazines, all over the place. She was a star. She was so rude. She stared at me and said, why are you still here? It's cheap, I said. My grandfather paid you so much, you could buy a mansion. I like living with ghosts. You're nuts, Sarah said, like I was a patient. Just like the guard. They didn't understand. I liked living with a ghost named Ian White. After I learned about him, I didn't mind him being moody. But then, he wasn't so moody. He said he didn't know how to act with people, but he wanted the sun. I don't know if that was good or bad for a ghost. Even if I couldn't see him, it was easier. I got him a phone. Sometimes he'd say, what are you doing? That made me feel all warm inside. He was the only one on his list, the only one calling me. I told him about the world. He lived through my world, and watched TV and made fun of people and practiced with me. We walked together at night. The guard said, you walk around alone at night? You're not afraid of ghosts? I said, people are worse. I asked Ian about ghosts, but he said he'd never talked to any. My piano playing had made him wake up. Now he was free. Before that, he didn't have any awareness. I said, you weren't a ghost, just a ghost in training. He said, okay, I guess I am. I heard stories about the O'Connells, too, about Sarah buying him a ghost apartment. She went to 502. After Ian woke up, he could hear her hate. Sarah said, Liam killed himself. He was sick and losing control over his body. Ian's death had broken him. Then, one day, Liam wrote a note and jumped off the roof. That's why Sarah acted so crazy. She screamed at Ian. How could you die? You belong to us, dead or alive. She also said, you did this. Liam could have just said he was sick. Now, everyone laughs at us. Ian said nothing. He didn't want to be found. But one time, he almost lost it. The night before the audition, Sarah went to 502. She started yelling that he was trash, that he deserved to be a ghost. She said, when you died, did you think they wouldn't find another ghost? They did, and she's right across the hall. She said, you're all trash. Ian got mad and rushed out and scared Sarah. That woke him up. He almost did something, but he stopped. I laughed. That was Sarah. She'd get mad at a photo. Ian said, why are you doing this for her? She's no good. For the money. When you're done, leave. I said, I want justice. I wanted justice and money. For Ian, and for me. Ian, I want to make a piano album for you. The music, the advertising, I need money for that. Ian was quiet. He was probably moving around. I'll do it. Just keep playing. Okay. He trusted me. I was going to be his rock. I was ready to make this happen. I picked music and set up a time at a good recording studio. I went online to set up an account for his name. That day, I said I needed to practice in the dark, and got them to close the curtains. Ian and I played at the same time. He'd play and I'd cry. I knew it was great. It was a ghost's goodbye. It was amazing. Ian said, Ava, I'm dead. Don't do too much. Take care of yourself. I said, if this goes right, I'll get out of this mess. What if it doesn't? I said, then we got a plan B. I never lose. The album was done. They wanted to send it to a record company, that it would shake the music world. I said no. I had my own plans. Winter came, and the Kennedy Center practices went on. Samuel stared at me. Mr. O'Connell, do I remind you of your dead grandson? I asked. He didn't look at me. If he was here, he'd like you. I know, I said. If Samuel was scary, Sarah was silly. She went on a dating show, pretending to be someone special, and it blew up. People saw through it. Her music wasn't as good as she said. Sarah needed to fix things, so she had her boyfriend pretend to come to the center concert. It would be a big surprise. I was ready. The night before, I put the album online. I called the account Ian White. Now Ian White was no one, but soon, he'd be everywhere. The Kennedy Center show, plus a big TV show, it would be a sellout. I was backstage, looking at the theater. TV cameras were set up. The big shots were coming, smiling in their places. Even Sarah's boyfriend, that actor, showed up. Great. I'd wanted this so bad. The show started. Sarah played 2 songs. People went crazy into the new year. Then, it was time for the big show Overture of Dreams. Sarah changed into a fancy dress and went to the piano. Time to go. I'd played that song for 3 months. When she touched the keys, I started playing, too. The music came from me, but sounded like her. But not tonight. When the music was moving from spring to childhood, I changed songs. I could see the stage. I saw Sarah look surprised. She quickly got it, but the people in front knew. When she caught up, I changed it again. Sarah was a mess. People whispered. They knew something was up. I was having fun. Sarah was angry and Samuel was dying. Stop it, Samuel, you haven't seen anything yet. Someone came to stop me. I picked up a hammer and hit the glass hard. The glass cracked, falling down on the stage. People screamed. Even Sarah. I was at the broken window, looking at the theater. No glass made it bright. The light was hot. Look, someone's there. It's a girl. Who is she? They were looking at me. I'm Ava Miller. I'm Sarah's ghost. I'm the one who played the Overture of Dreams. The Kennedy Center cheated you. Stop her, she's crazy, Samuel yelled. They rushed at me. I'm not crazy. Samuel, let them hear me play. This was big, and I wasn't going anywhere. Someone went live. Someone yelled, play it. People shouted, loud. The manager tried to stop the show, but someone said, let her play, we can figure out the truth. If she's crazy, we can call the cops, another said. They couldn't stop me now. I pushed past everyone and went on stage. My dream. The stage I'd wanted for so long. I went to the Steinway and looked at the sound booth. They were working with me now. I played. The music went to everyone. I felt Ian with me. The light and his cold touch gave me strength. I played the whole overture of Dreams, and people went nuts. The internet went wild. Sarah was cancelled. She was called a cheater and a liar, her name crashed. She deserved it. Samuel waited for me outside. He was so angry. He could have killed me. Ava, your life is over. I'll destroy you, he said. I laughed. Do what you want. If music is this bad, then I don't want it. The lilac tree was empty. But it was still green. A ton of people were outside. They filmed everything. When I came out, they all ran to me. Ava, you're amazing. You took down the O'Connells, good for you. They were waiting for me to speak. What I said would be shared everywhere. I looked around and saw a girl in front. Her heel was broken, but she was pushing to get close. She asked, "Are you afraid of the O'Connells?" I smiled. "How many people are watching you?" She said, 9,000. Okay, I'll get you to 10,000, or 100,000. I got a car, told the girl to come with me. Her camera would keep me safe, and let me tell my story. The rage at the theater was for Ava. Now it was Ian's turn. I'm Ava Miller. I went to music school, and wanted to play on the Kennedy Center stage. This year, I got in, and I was so happy, I was finally going to shine. But then, everything went wrong. I told the truth. Then, I opened my phone. I saw 100,000 on the screen. They felt bad for me. They hated the O'Connells. There were people who hated me, Liam's fans. I said, Liam's shows after he turned 22 were also played by a ghost. What? The girl yelled, and the driver hit the brakes. The O'Connells are old hands at this. If I didn't speak up, I wouldn't have been the last one. The internet was crashing. Liam stopped touring at 22. That makes sense. The girl was a big fan. Liam won competitions and toured the world. He was good. Why would he need a ghost? The O'Connells have a sickness. After 22, he couldn't play. Samuel hired a ghost. His name was Ian White. The forest Ian, the island White, the honest White. He was just a regular kid, like me. He lived in the dark. If he didn't do what the O'Connells wanted, his life was over. The internet was going crazy. That's so evil. How can Samuel be so bad? Ava was their ghost. We all saw that. The girl read the comments. Liam's music changed after 22. We all knew it. Where's Ian White? Liam died. He should be free. Why have we never heard of him? Something hurt in my chest. Ian is never coming out. I couldn't say dead. He wasn't. He was my moody ghost. He helped me. He made me strong. He wasn't dead, just gone. His voice, his heart, his music were still here. The girl knew what I meant. Is he okay? I held back my tears. He's okay, he doesn't want the world. I put up his album. Go listen to it. He should be remembered. Ian White. The forest Ian, the island White, the honest White. Ian cried in my apartment. I did it, he said. I cried too. The world was a mess. The girls' show had broken the internet. Sarah was being cancelled, and Samuel was being screamed at, all over the place. They deserved it. Ian's account was getting followers fast. People loved his music, and they were curious. Big reviewers loved his work. They knew it was Liam's later style. Liam's fans said it could still be him. The reviewers said the last 2 songs were made after Liam died. That settled it. Ian White was #1 everywhere. He deserved it. It was late, but it was here. The world knows you now, Ian. You have a name. Then, Ian was there. Thanks. His tears made my forehead wet. Don't cry. Don't. Let's be happy, okay? I laughed, and we both cried. That night, Ian didn't go to 502. His album played all night. We were two crazy people, laughing and crying. I fell asleep in his arms. I woke up to the sunrise. I was no longer in his arms. My forehead was wet, so it wasn't a dream. Ian. No answer. The house was quiet. I was scared, so I ran out. 502 was shut tight. It felt cold, final. Ian had given me his key. I opened the door. Ian? Moody ghost? The shrine was the same. That kid was smiling at me. Why don't you talk to me? Don't go. You can't. I was crying. Moody ghost, don't leave me alone here. The house was empty. There was his phone by the shrine. He was gone. He left me in this world. Ian's phone had a message. I tried, but you can't see me. I'm fading faster. I'm done. Thank you for giving me a great send-off. I lived with you. I'm so glad. Put my ashes next to my parents. Sleep well. And forget about me, Ava. Live your life. I hit send, crying. My moody ghost. He never had a question mark. I would live my life, but I could never forget him. The O'Connells didn't win. I got better. I went back to the center a month later. Samuel was fired. Music wasn't all bad. It was the O'Connells who were evil. I didn't see Samuel fall apart, but I did see Sarah. She went to 502, and the shrine was gone. She went crazy at the center. She looked so bad. She was empty. She had a hole in her soul. You stole Ian White. She yelled. You stole his life. I gave him back a little. Sarah said, he's dead. How did you make that album? That's a secret, I smiled. Ian's album sold for so much money. I used the money to start the Ian White Piano Fund, for poor kids who want to play. Ian, I'll never let you go. You have a name, you have a soul, you are living. I want people to love you. I want you to rest and smile next to your parents. Ian White.